Hello, everybody. I'm just getting everything finalized for today's live. Make sure to plug my phone into the power, because that would be a big problem if I did not. All right, how are we doing? I really don't know officially what everything's going to look like until I get it up on my iPad screen. But we're getting there. All right, the bottom is a little interesting, but I think we'll be okay. Yeah, that's about good. All right, I hope you guys are having a fantastic Saturday. Today is my final January Facebook Live. So we did about a week and a half ago. We had crafted together and we had created a card using the Golden Age stamp set. Today we are using the Smooches stamp set to make another card filled with lots of love. It's just that time of year. I feel like we really just get the month of January and a little bit into February to like craft for Valentine's Day. So I'm definitely just going to take advantage of that. So I have everything stamped out. We're going to give it a couple minutes just for people to trickle in. Like I said, I hope everybody is having a fantastic day, and I'm so excited just to craft together for a little bit. I am getting ready to head out of town next week. So I have been on a crunch time recently for a bunch of crafting commitments. I have a stack of probably 10 cards sitting next to my desk. Some Kindred, some not. Just making sure to get everything taken care of. At least the cards are all done at this point. Audra just, there's one more that I'm doing for Kindred that I talked to Audra about yesterday. But other than that, we should be good to go. All right, let's see. I don't see any comments yet, which is total. Oh, there we go. Leanne, hello. Leanne, hope you're having a wonderful Saturday. I keep wanting to say Friday. Let's not go back in time. But okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to color up the Smooches stamp set today together. There's just one image of it. Then we're also going to create a background. I've also got the Hello Craft die. We're going to use a little bit with this as well. I'm going to see if I can mask one of the sentiments. It's just a little delicate, so I don't know how good I'm going to be on there. Anywhere warm? Yes, I just found out. I thought it was going to be colder because I know that there's been cold weather, but I am heading to Florida, so we will have some warm weather. I just checked upper 70s, possibly low 80s, and for me, that's perfect. I can't complain about that. So let's get into a little bit of coloring. I've got my Copic markers all set out, and we're going to go ahead and start with her skin. Let me grab a piece of paper really quick just to throw underneath this. And we're going to start with some E04. And I'm just going to go in anywhere that there will be like a shadow on her face from the hair or something else. That's where I'm going to place it. Now, I'm using some inks today, but I'm not really using a bunch of products. I'm using this stamp set. We've got some inks. I used a die set to cut down my card base, but this is kind of the lesson of today's live is more so utilizing elements of a stamp set to create a full card, which I know sounds kind of vague right now, but you'll get what I mean when we get to that portion of our live. Just around each of these little curls. It's going to be very fun to fussy cut out. That's okay. And going down and around the hoop. And then up over there, we're going to go above her nose. And let's go here. Such a sweet little character. I know that a couple years ago there was a musical that was in Chicago that featured this character. I was supposed to go, but it was like, I was supposed to go in like December, and I just want to be home and warm and cozy. We're actually going to the city tonight to see a different musical, so that's exciting. On this side of her leg. Awesome. Okay, next we're going to pull in some E11 or E11. For whatever reason, it took me a long time to lay down that E04. Usually it doesn't. Bring those colors out. Keep on going. Okay. Next color is going to be E21. I'm going to go in. We're going to put that off to the side because it's going to fall over. Ugh, but yes, it has been a week of getting caught up on crafting commitments, which is exciting. I'm actually, normally I'm a little down on myself because I do sometimes have a tendency to like work on things very close to deadlines. And this week, everything, while maybe all the elements were not fully completed well in advance, the core of it was. So I was very happy about that. Speaking of commitments, though, be sure to keep an eye on the fan club, possibly even inbox or notifications for invitations. The January release sneaks are going to start tomorrow night. It's going to be a super fun release. I am working with something I think a little different for me, so I can't give away too much. But there's like a heavy element that's usually in all of my projects, and it's not in this one. So that's exciting. Can't give away too much, though. All right, just kind of keep going in. It's interesting when you go out of town, I try to be mindful with food because, like, you don't want to buy things that are going to spoil while you're gone. You also, like, in my household, like, we try to, like, cook just a little bit more since we know we're about to go and not cook for, like, a full week. So I did a grocery run, and we're just interesting collection of meals that we're making over the next 7 days. Like going with some E000. For a second, I thought it was the quadruple zero. That is not what I wanted. I did stamp my image out in a Copic marker safe stamping ink. If you have been in one of my Facebook Lives before, you know that my go-to ink is the Blackout ink by Ink on 3. I like to talk about, there's 3 things with an ink that I look for. I've tested out a lot of different inks. For me, I like an ink that I get a crisp impression. I like an ink that'll dry quickly, because that way I don't have to worry about any sort of smudging. And I like it when it's got good coverage. And that one checks all the boxes for certain. All right, we're going to go in. We're going to repeat these colors. Making with that E04. Oh, and you know the other thing it doesn't do is it doesn't stain your stamps. That's another thing that's very important to me when I'm using, because so many of my images, I know staining of stamps is not something that, like, should worry you, you know, but there's, like, some inks out there that, like, really stain your images. And that I'm not a fan of. Especially when it's, like, a black ink and the whole stamp just turns, like, solid black. Don't want that. Let's go back in with some E11. Oh, Patsy, I missed your message. Hello. For whatever reason, the very first message I saw was Leanne's when she said, hi, everybody. So I missed Patsy and Gwen's hello, but I know I saw Gwen's question about asking where we were heading to. So was not skipping over you, Patsy, I promise. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Just kind of going in, bringing that ink out. My markers are in need of a spa day sometime soon. I have a handful of nibs that are just not in the best coloring sort of conditions. I just found a marker that was entirely dried earlier in the week, so that was not fun. So I've got to order a new YR15, but that's okay. It happens. All right. Next we're going to some E21. I keep bringing these colors out. I had to record 2 videos earlier today. I was very proud of myself because sometimes I feel like when I sit down to record a video for crafting, I don't fully flush out my idea until it's actually like recording time. But for these videos today, I've like fully prepped for them, came up with my prompts for them. Very happy about that. Just talking a little bit behind the scenes as I'm filling in her skin complexion. I know I talked to Aud. This is something I feel like I can tell, but it's just me being a tease with it. I talked to Audra this week about my next video that I'm going to be doing. Can't give details as to what that is now, but you'll see me back with a Kindred video very soon. Oh, hello, Christian. Happy Saturday to you, too. And Patsy is organizing her craft room. That is exciting. You know what, too? And it's exciting when you figure out, like, the ways that you want to organize things and you know what you need to go purchase and you actually go purchase them. Because sometimes I think about all the things that I'd like to buy to organize, and then I realize my wallet would not be my friend. It's not really already, but that's okay. So it's like to actually go and get stuff and start putting it away. That is so wonderful. Watercoloring Valentines for your nieces and nephews. That is so fun, Christian. Are you like, did you stamp out images that you're using to watercolor? Are you just like, did you die cut hearts that maybe you're doing a watercolor print on? What sort of style are you doing? Watercoloring kind of intimidates me. You don't see me do it too much. And then Leanne said, so many ideas for this stamp. Oh, I'm excited for you to make something with it too. My idea, I'm excited about it. I'm excited to talk about what we're doing for the design when we get a little closer to that part. I know that's me being vague. I just don't like to overly talk about the card until we actually start making it, because I don't want to like say something wrong and change it on you guys, but I also don't want to like spoil things. So, I don't know, that's just me. She's definitely a cutie, though. She definitely needs some blush. She is like, out of any of the Kindred Stamps character images, she may be the one who needs blush the most. let's blend it all in with some E000. I'm also for today. Oh, Christian said watercolor palettes from 5 years ago. No, there is nothing wrong with that. I give you props because we got to use our stuff, and I have so many things too. We all do. I mean, we all have a collection, some sort of a crafting collection. Unless you just started collecting yesterday, you've got you've got a chunk of stuff, and you've probably got stuff that you've bought that you haven't gotten to yet. Like myself, oh my God, I don't even want to talk about probably how many things I have that haven't been touched, and I really need to go into it. So Christian, if it's something 5 years old, I give you a lot of credit, because that's something for me that I feel like would just end up collecting dust for another 5 years. Perfect. Okay, I'm not going to do her lips right yet. Let's work on her hair. And her hair, what we're going to do, we're not really going to do a lot of texture to it. Her hair is just too thin and cartoony for that, in my opinion. So we're just going to go in. This is T7. That works. We're going to go next with some T5. I got real quiet for a second. I'm real sorry about that. We're going to finish this off with a third color, which is just going to be T3. Sorry, I think I got deep in thought for a second. Then I'm like, wait, Justin, you're not just coloring. I'm so sorry about that. So we're going to go in. We're going to do the T3. We're going to color it up again. I didn't want to do too much with the hair just because, like I said, it's cartoony. It's kind of on the thin side. There's some really unique texture to it that I don't even think that, like, as she is, like, if you were looking at true to character inspiration, I don't even think there's texture there to pull from. You kind of have to get very creative on your own. I don't know. So I say just go this way. Just sort of your standard color, not a cop-out. I really don't know how else her dress would, or her hair would go. All right, T7, we're going to go back. We're going to repeat our colors. So going back in, I will check comments when I'm done with this color. I'm also like really in the mood for good Mexican food. I think that sounds delicious for dinner. I think I just don't want to cook. But that's okay. All right, T5, meatball subs are what are on the docket for dinner tonight. With salads, little side salads. So I guess that sounds good too. finish this with T3. Color correct that part a little bit. So outer lines. All right, now I will check comments. Stuffed pepper sounds so good, Gwen. I think, oh. What sort of meat do you put in them? I'm kind of a fan. I don't know if I feel like you can kind of go the beef route or you can go the sausage route. I like the sausage route with them. Ooh, new floors. That's exciting. You're going to have a pretty kitchen. All right, let's go in. We're going to do her dress now. We'll do her jewelry at the end. So her dress is just a pretty little red dress. And we're going to go in. She's got R29. Do it around her hand. We're also going to do her lips. Ooh, yeah, all with the stuffed peppers. Maybe I need to make stuffed peppers. Not tonight, but sometime soon. And also, I've seen some artwork. She either has black or red shoes, and I figured we're just going to do red shoes. Make everything color coordinate. All right, let's do some R24. Lips, and then finish with some R22, which is actually a color we also used in her blush, so that'll kind of pull in a little bit. All right, we are getting there with her. We're going to repeat this dress pattern for the coloring. So we're going to go back in with some R29. This is the first time I've used her too, Christian. I kind of try to use my Facebook Lives as an excuse to pull out some stamp sets I haven't gotten to play with yet. So I was kind of scrolling the website, and I saw that she was still in stock. I don't actually think there's a lot of her left. I think when I checked inventory the other day, there were only like 9. I also feel like the smaller stamp sets sometimes get snatched up quicker because they're like an easier justification. Like, oh, this doesn't cost as much as a 6x8. I'm going to add this to my cart. You know, but I wanted to use her. I'm still in that Valentine's mindset, you know. She's pretty. And she actually is not that difficult. Like, she doesn't use that many markers. It's your skin blend, black hair, red dress, lips, shoes, and garter, and then whatever color you want to make her jewelry, but I believe true to color, like what I'm going to do is gold. So not bad. All right. Well, let's do her jewelry. This, I think I'm just going to color once. So we're going to go in. I've got YR21. And we're just going to kind of go around her cuff. Like this. Awesome. And then we're going to go in with some YR27. This is kind of like my antique gold blend. It was like my original blend I used to use for gold, and then I started to use a YR blend instead. And then I just go back to this every once in a while when I want the gold blend to just kind of have a little bit of character to it. Wire 2-1. Awesome. I thought it might be pretty too to add a little bit of embellishment to her dress. So I'm going to go in, let's grab R37. I'm just going to add some dots. Just like that. And then I'm also going to add in some R29. I'm not trying to make it look like a polka dotted dress, but almost like maybe she has sequins or something. Okay. And then we're going to go in. I've got my Jelly Roll number 10 gel pen. And we're going to fix her hair. And I'm just going to go in and add just a little bit of embellishment like that. Awesome. And that way it just kind of gives her dress a little bit of a sparkle. Just a little something extra. Let's show you guys close to the camera. Oh, an ornament shaker. That would be really pretty, Christian. So yeah, you can just see those little sparkles, the little white dots on her dress. I didn't want it to look overly like designed or overly like polka dotty. So I just did like a little bit of a sporadic amount of them. All right, we're going to just kind of wave her out so we can dry her, fuss and cut her out, and start working on our background. All right, putting my markers away. This is actually for later. All right, what else did I miss? She would be so pretty on a Christmas card. She's so perfect in her regular coloring. However, she would also be really pretty in like that good old like slightly emerald green Christmas color. I don't know. I think that would be really pretty. Or like if you, I thought it would be fun. I don't know. I come up with ideas. And I wonder like if we would ever be able to do like a stamp set that we could do like hats. And we could add like different hats onto our characters where it's like, oh, like this is like birthday hats. Like for sure, like little birthday party hats or like Santa hats or I don't know, even if it was like a top hat, if you wanted to make like a wedding card and like make it kind of fancy. I don't know. I think it would be fun. But that's also, you're kind of banking on the fact that all of our characters would have to have like the same size head. And I know that's not the case. Her head is definitely a different shape than most of the Kindred Stamps characters because her head is very heart-shaped. This fussy cutting one, she's going to take me a little bit. See, this is, images like this is when it's good to have a scan and cut. And I do have a scan and cut. And I didn't prepare in advance. Usually I don't have an image done through my scan and cut in advance. Maybe I need to start doing that. It's nice that you guys like the idea of hats. I just think it would be fun. I don't know. Because it's like an accessory that you can really add on for a lot of people. Like you could do like an Uncle Sam hat for like the 4th of July. And I know that that would fit on like, I think it'd be really cool to like use that on the Eagle from the Showtime limited edition set, you know? Or I once used the Judges Panel stamp set, and I made the host of the show that's on that stamp set. I turned her into the Statue of Liberty, and like I think about how you could go ahead and like add that Uncle Sam hat to that as well. You could do crowns. Crowns could be a lot of fun. Oh, you always cut their poor heads off when it ships. I hate that. I have trust issues with my Scan and Cut, Christian. There was one time, I forget, I want to say it was a Kindred image, but I don't specifically remember what. But I was cutting it out with a Scan and Cut, and I remember it specifically that it was a female image. And all of a sudden, I must have, like, stopped watching the machine, and it literally, like, went into the face and cut around her nose. And I was like, why are we doing this? I'm like, we don't need to do this right now. So I literally had a character with her nose entirely cut out and removed. And I was just like, ever since then, trust issues. Trust issues with the Scan and Cut. I watch it like a hawk now. Because I'm like, it takes so long to color. People say, too, that you should Scan and Cut before you color. But sometimes it's really hard for me to, like, work with images that are so small. Like, I like to work with, like, a larger piece of paper that I can shift around. And then I know people will be like, oh, we'll put them on a Post-it note. I can do that, too, but I'm also picky because sometimes then that makes, like, the paper I'm working with tacky. And, like, my fingers at inopportune times will stick to it. And I'm like, no. I don't want to, like, carry this with me. Like, I don't know. I'm just picky. We all have our own processes. I don't know. All right, let's go in around the around the dress. Get around that shoe. All right, we have her all cut out. I can get rid of that scrap. So let me bring her a little close once again. She's all completed. I think she looks adorable. We are going to set her aside, and we are going to get into some background creation. So I have taken the rectangle stitch die from Card Basics, and I've die cut out a piece of light pink cardstock. This is Gina K cardstock. I want to say it's bubblegum. I don't remember, but it's a light pink. What we're going to do is we're going to make it a little darker pink and distress it a little bit. I have some Party Dress ink. This is by Catherine Pooler. And we're going to go in and we're going to blend along the edges just to kind of darken this up a little bit. My intention is, one reason why I like to work with colored cardstocks with ink blending is because it kind of provides you with your base color and you don't have to lay it down. So for example, I can use a darker pink to blend into this lighter pink because it's already on the paper. I don't have to put the light pink down already to blend this into. So it's just like a good kind of like shortcut. I don't know. Just kind of going in. Recently, I found like 2 or 3 of my Catherine Pooler ink pads have become like oddly dry and sticky. But like, I don't know. It's just interesting. So I had to replace them. And the part that sucks about the replacing them, I mean, it's the investment about also replacing the pads themselves. But like, I also have to buy new labels. And you can't buy the labels by the color. You have to buy them in like groups for most of the colors. So I'm like, I don't need labels for all these colors. Anyways, Justin problems that I'm just randomly talking about. Just kind of going in, making sure that these edges are softer. making it look like it's got a nice transition into that light pink cardstock. Awesome. All right, so we've got that distressed. I want to add a little bit of red. I think I might want to add just a little bit of red. Not a lot, but just to kind of transition that pink into a red as well. Good morning, Diana. I said good morning. It's good afternoon. My goodness. Just going to kind of go in. I'm adding less of this rockin' red than I did with the party dress, but it's just going to add a little bit more of that red to just the edges to kind of bring in more color. We're going to do a chunk to this panel, so stay tuned. All right. Perfect. All right, Diana, I saw your comment. Okay, good morning, everyone. Like Justin, I use Copic to color with, but I noticed there's a lot of people using Olo markers. I was wondering if there is a difference in how they blend. I don't use Copics, and Diana, I also know that your question was not specifically dedicated towards me, so I'm not sitting here trying to take ownership of the answer to your question. I haven't used Olos. They have been on my radar. I have talked to some people that really like them. I have talked to other people that do not. And what I'm about to offer about the Olo markers regarding what I have heard is not from my own experience. It is from like kind of the data that I've collected with doing my own research. It seems that with the Olo markers, the people who do not enjoy them are the people who I know like coloring is like at the forefront of their creation. Like they really they love to color everything. They're not like, that's like their primary thing. I've heard from them that they don't blend the way that a Copic would. I have not tested this for myself. But we're going to go back to the Smooches stamp set, and I'm going to use the Smooch Kiss Mark, and we're going to use this to embellish this background. But we're going to also, since I haven't used this before, we're going to condition the stamp. And there's a couple different ways you can condition a stamp, but basically what that means is when you get your stamps and they're brand new, there's like a layer that kind of has to be worked through on the top that as long as it's there, your stamp is not going to be able to like fully absorb the ink or let it like fully cover it. So if you go ahead, you can use your skin and rub it against the skin to kind of help take off that layer. See, it looks like a little duller now. You can also, I know a lot of people use erasers. So you've got options. All right, let's go in. We're going to take Party Dress. All right. Now, if you've watched my Facebook Lives before, you know I don't pull out the Catherine Pooler inks during a live too often. I'm pretty much almost always Distress inks. But I think that Catherine Pooler inks just stamp so beautifully. And I get much better ink coverage on my stamps using Catherine Pooler inks than I do when I'm using Distress inks. All right, so there's just a couple pink ones. Pink is not the main color I wanted to focus on, though. I want to do a lot more with reds. So now I'm going to go in, I'm going to go pull in that Rockin' Red. And I actually want to, I'm going to pull this in. This is what I was coloring on. I'm just kind of making like a confetti kiss mark background of sorts. I'm just kind of randomly placing them, but trying to leave gaps as well. There we go. So that was Rockin' Red. Now, the last color that I want to pull in is going to be Cranberry Fizz, which is going to be a deep red. You know what? See, Christian says there isn't a difference with how they blend. So that's good to know, Christian. And like I said, my feedback with it is just from what I've heard from others, not firsthand experience. So please take what I say with a grain of salt. I'm sorry if that comes across as me trying to like resolve myself of the responsibility of the question. I just don't want to misguide anybody. I would say if it's something you're interested in, I know it's fairly affordable to get just a small collection of them. Just trying to figure out how to do that. So maybe you could test a couple, or if you have a friend that you know is using them, maybe they would let you test them out. We're getting somewhere. Do you want something in there? I don't know what color I want. Do the dark. Don't forget when you're doing a background like this to allow your images to be stamped off panel. It makes your design just look a little realistic because it looks like you cut it from a piece of paper rather than it just being all contained to the shape of your panel. All right, so we've got this. We're not done with it yet though. I wish I did a little bit more where that pink one is. I wish I shifted that pink kiss just a little bit up because it's kind of on its own, but you know what? That's okay. We'll add some embellishment. We will make it work. Or we'll cover it with a die cut. Stay tuned. Leanne, I like Catherine Pooler inks, going back to your comment about them. They really have great stamp coverage, and that's really what I think they excel in the most. I know a lot of people use them for watercoloring. There is also such a wonderful collection of colors with them. When they release them, it's in sets. It's not one color at a time. I really do enjoy them. I don't know if I would say go ahead and add them to your collection right now, but they're a good ink. The other inks that I feel like have kind of been, oh, and I got to talk about what I'm using. I'm going to also pull in some liquid candy cane red paper splatter watercolor by Picket Fence Studios. And this is going to add a little bit of embellishment to that background. And we're going to do actually more than just one background splatter. So where is, here we go. I didn't know where my watercolor brush was. We're going to add a little bit of water. And then I'm going to pick this up. I tap off just a little. We're gonna splatter this. Now this does have metallic properties to it, so when it dries, it's gonna add a little bit of shimmer. We're going to set this aside. We're going to do just a wee little bit of cleanup. I'm going to pick that up, wipe this off. Okay. And then I'm going to, do I want to hit it with a heat gun? No, we'll let it be. I need to grab another metallic watercolor, and I want to grab the opaque gold because I want to pull in bits of her jewelry. So we're gonna do this. I'm not gonna water this down because if it's opaque, if I add water, it's gonna take away from the opaqueness of it. So I'm just gonna clean off my brush. And when this dries, this will give more metallicness to the panel. See how those splatters also help fill in the empty space between the lips. So like even though this was just kind of on its own little island, now there are splatters around it that make it kind of blend in. It doesn't look as like stand out-ish. All right, I think that's good. So okay, so let me bring this up a little closer so you can see. So we've got this background with all these kiss marks, and then we've gone ahead and we've splattered it with both the liquid candy cane red paper splatter and the opaque gold paper splatter. This does need to dry, so we're gonna set it to the side for now. Another thing when you're working with different paper splatters, it's really important to kind of understand the papers that you're working with and knowing that not all papers will dry the same, because a lot of it is gonna depend on the qualities of your paper, whether or not it's porous, what the surface is like, if the surface is super smooth, if it's got texture to it. That typically comes into effect. So like, don't just think that because you used one paper that like it dried really quickly, that a different paper is going to dry the same way. You're going to end up smudging because you're going to get excited and you're going to start working sooner than you think you need to. So just keep that in mind. Okay, what we're going to do next is I wanted to work on a sentiment. And I'm just realizing right now that I didn't grab my white embossing powder, so I will have to get that, and that is okay. So I'm gonna go in, I've got my Misty. I'm going to magnet down my red cardstock. And I wanted to have my sentiment say, hello, gorgeous. And there is the word gorgeous with this happy birthday, gorgeous. Now my problem with this is a very small little sentiment, and I'm going to need to mask it. I could cut it. I don't like doing that either. So I just want to go in and kind of mask my sentiment with some mint tape so that it only says gorgeous. Ugh. Don't love this. So we're gonna go in. I am going to add some anti-static powder, and I am also going to grab my white embossing powder, which is the Snowfall embossing powder, of course. I just changed out and have a brand new Kindred Stamps embossing pad. The other one that I've been using was like 3 or 4 years old, and they do dry over time. So now, because I inked it, and see how this stamps. This could be a huge failure. Ooh, okay, I think we're winning. I think we're winning here. Okay, what are we gonna do now? We're gonna really quickly grab a piece of paper and the Snowfall embossing powder. Oh, phooey. All right, we may have to do a round 2 of this. I might be able to fix this. All right, I'm gonna put this powder back. See, that's the thing, talking about how your papers are going to react. Colored cardstock is not the easiest thing to heat emboss onto because it can be porous. Alright, I don't love the way that this looks, but we're going to see what we can do, if we can salvage it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cloth, I'm going to take off the powder, I am going to grab my, where's my white gel pen, and we're going to see if we can correct this. You know what? This is pretty good. We're gonna use this. White gel pens are always something nice to have on hand to help correct when you are using it to heat emboss in white, just to kind of fill in any gaps. The only thing is you're gonna wanna make sure to give it a little bit of time to dry. Ooh. All right, I think crisis averted. Let's see, am I missing any comments? A handful. One second, I want to see what Christian said. I feel like for ink blending, the foam pad is easier to pick up ink with. I use CP inks for my inky projects. They're definitely good for that. I wish they didn't stain your pads. Or your stamps. That's like my only thing. I think they blend really nicely. They're dye inks though, so like you can't even compare them to an oxide. You have to compare them to like a distress ink or other dye inks. And sometimes like blending with dye inks can be kind of daunting. So, I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. All right. Okay, so now we're gonna put this away. I'm going to try and wipe this. And then we're gonna fussy cut. Or if you had a sentiment strip banner, that works too. So just kind of fussy cutting the sentiment out, just so the word gorgeous. Try not to touch the letters just because I don't want to potentially mess up any of the white gel pen. All right. And there we have it, just a little word of gorgeous. I know it's tiny, but it's what we have from the stamp set, and I think it's gonna work. Okay, next, we're kind of getting into the end stages. So what we're gonna do is I have the Hello Word die, and we're going to adhere it to a piece of vellum. Now, let's talk about vellum. Vellum is tricky because vellum will show your adhesive. So you don't want to use heavy amounts of adhesive. You want to use light amounts because you don't want that like wet look. So So I'm just kind of going in. Okay, so we've got most of our, oh, no, it fell on my panel. No, 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 no. See, this is why we use tweezers, my friends. Okay, so we're gonna go in and grab an acrylic block. We're gonna put that down to get some even pressure. So this we're just gonna put down like this. While this is working, let's start building our background. So this is 4 by 5 1/4. I have a 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 panel of red glitter paper that I am going to adhere this to as well. We're going to use some liquid adhesive. I'm going to have to be patient because when you glue to glitter cardstock, it doesn't immediately take to a wet adhesive. So we're going to kind of utilize that to our advantage at first, just to kind of make sure everything is nice and shifted into place. And then I'm going to swap and I'll put this block over it just to help get some even pressure. So now I want to kind of map everything out. So we're going to say, hello, gorgeous. Oh, maybe like that, or like, I want it to be like this is kind of my goal. So really what it's going to be is where that gorgeous is going to fit nicely. So we'll bring her up a little bit so that, but that hello is going to go in the top half of the card. We're going to put on a little bit of an angle. We're also going to take advantage of using some tweezers. Okay. And now what I'm going to do, like I said, you've got to be careful with vellum. You're not going to want to do a lot of adhesive because you don't want to get those wet marks. Because they will show everything underneath. So I have to strategically put my liquid adhesive in the places that I want it to go. You don't have to do everywhere. So we're gonna go in and we're gonna put it like right there. So a little bit of an angle. Push this down. And let's hope that we don't have any of those wet marks that I was talking about. I don't see any. I think we're good. Okay, so it looks like a nice dry sort of application. So that's great. So we're gonna add her. Yeah, we're gonna put, we're gonna do a thin foam tape, just like this. We'll do it on the underside of Gorgeous. But then we're also going to add some foam tape to the back of her. Oh, Philly, come on. See, sometimes handling foam tape drives me up a wall. When it comes to the little itty bitty pieces. Okay. So, Let's get her added on. We'll add her down here. I want to put this gorgeous sentiment kind of underneath the E. Okay, we're not done yet though. So I have a card base. All right, we're getting there, y'all. I have a card base and I want to adhere it. This is an A2 size card base. Now, because this glitter layer is not fully A2 size, we're going to have a white border around the card. So we're going to adhere it just like this. But I like that because it pulls in the white from the hello sentiment that we included. And then lastly, I wanted to add some gold embellishments. I've got some sparkly gold embellishments. These are by Trinity Stamps. And I wanted to go ahead and just add a couple of them into the card. So, 1, 2, 3. And let's see. Why is this not techy? There we go. And they're like glittery shimmer discs. Like that. And then let's do maybe like 2, 1, 2. Do let's see what else. Come on, more small ones. And then 1, 2. Do a big one. One small one over here. I think I want to do like that, and that might be it. All right, let's see what we got. Wonderful. Okay, I know I get quiet with sequins and embellishments. I just think these were really kind of special, and I thought that they would play really well with the gold of her earrings and the splatters in the background. So we are all completed with today's Facebook Live card using the Smooches stamp set. So I just want to show a little closer. Let's just make sure. Oh, thank you so much, Heather. Thanks for stopping by. I want to show you guys everything that we used for today's card. We'll talk about the Kindred Stamps products first. Of course, we used the Smooches stamp set, the Hello Craft die, some the Card Basics die set so we could get the background with the stitched rectangle. We also used some Snowfall embossing powder as well so that we can get the sentiment of gorgeous. Then we also, for our background, we inked it up with some Catherine Pooler inks. We used the kiss mark from the stamp set to make our own sort of pattern paper background, which we also then splattered with some gold and red paper splatter watercolor. I'm so glad that you guys think that this is so cute. I think it turned out really fun. I think there's a lot of fun pops of shimmer with it. So I had a lot of fun making this, and I'm glad you guys did too, or watching me make it. If you made it, go ahead and share. I'd love to see. I'm just assuming no one did, because Christian is usually the one who does, and I know she's working on watercolor Valentines. So thank you guys so very much. I'll make sure to get this photographed and uploaded into the Kindred Stamps fan club. I'll get the YouTube link going as well, so you guys can rewatch the replay and also check out the list of products that I used to put this together if you're interested in recreating all or a portion of this. Thank you guys so very much for stopping by today. Like I said, this is my last January Facebook Live. I will be back next month. I can guarantee you I will not have a Facebook Live before February 8th. Honestly, it's probably not going to be a Facebook Live before February 10th or 11th, in all honesty. But I will see you guys next month with some more crafty inspiration, and I will see you real soon. Have a wonderful weekend. Goodbye.